stock, bond, investments, and
Right.
that is such a word now
Right.
that everyone's talking about in the community, and so I wonder if you can give us if you can talk to us like a 6-year-old, so to speak, because for many of us, it's a field that we're not familiar with,
Right.
coming from Burma or anywhere else, and it's just new territory. So if you can give us just a basic understanding part of it.
Okay. Right. I think so. With my field, we do alternative investment management, which we invest in primarily in real estate.
Yeah.
So our funds are specifically allocated for institutional investors and accredited investors. So it won't. My firm, how it works, and I get this questions all the time. Can we invest in your company? I go, absolutely not, because they're built for banks and institutions and family offices. So our funds are holded for 7 years, and what we do is we invest in private companies or in real estate. So that's why we call it alternative investment management. But we do have RIAs, which is our registered investment advisors, which can give fiduciary advice to people. I'm not an RIA, but people in my firm are.
Sure.
But in terms of investment, you invest in things that you really know and that you're confident in, is what my fundamental goal is and advice is. And in terms of stocks and bonds and ETFs, unless you are very dedicated for that, then you can do it yourself. But I'd recommend having it go to like Merrill Lynch, which is a Bank of America investment management. They can invest in the S&P 500, which hasn't lost in, gosh, like since the 1900s.
That is such an interesting point.
Right.
Yes.
And it's diversified. So when you invest in a portfolio, when you go to a investment management firm, I mean your local banks would have it. If you have I don't know if PNC has it. I know Chase has it. Well, JP Morgan. That's where I go to. JP Morgan Wealth Management, Asset Management. What happens is they diversify your portfolio. So you're investing essentially in either, depending on what your portfolio looks like. Your portfolio looks like kind of depends on what your income level is, what your savings level is. So it depends on how much you earn. It has all types of contingencies. But let's say you are doing pretty well. You make an account with JP Morgan, and then they diversify your portfolio, and it compounds. So in the next 10 years, you can retire. You can retire comfortably. But if you let it, the money, if you have it in just your checking account, it's not good for you either. Because remember, inflation is like, right now it's like, what, 7%, 8%. So you just put, let's say you have $1 million in the bank, you minus 7%. That's how much you're losing if you're having it in a checking account. So you would like to have it in an interest-bearing savings account. I wouldn't recommend having your portfolio in cash. I rarely have cash, and if I want to liquidate, I can just call to liquidate and have it in cash. And that's what I do. But I would really recommend diversification and investing in like companies or like some types of different vehicles of investments. I would always do your due diligence and make sure you do not invest that in one company or one organization. You don't invest a lot of your earnings into it, because you don't want to invest too much of your let's say you make $100,000 a year and you invest 25,000 of that to a business. Unless it's your own business and you have control over it, I don't recommend that investment going through, because if you have $1 million, you invest 25,000. That's okay. That's fine. It's not a big damage to your portfolio. But if you have $1 million and you do 25, that's fine. But 100,000, you do 25, that's a quarter of your earnings gone. So that's kind of like a
Right. So
I call it calculative gambling. That's what I call it, and I don't like gambling.